is time for the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. It's weather for Weather Geeks on this Wednesday evening. We had a severe weather threat across the area today for the vast majority of the area. The threat did not really materialize. I kind of talked about last evening how this wasn't the greatest setup in the world for a severe weather episode. We did have a few isolated reports of wind damage, which we will talk about. But first I wanted to talk about what happened this morning. We had our partial lunar eclipse right at daybreak this morning. And, for most of us, this was no big deal. Really hard to see much of anything, and occurring at 5:55 in the morning, pretty early in the day for a lot of people. But if you've got nice enough equipment, telescopes and cameras, and your view of the western horizon was pretty good, well, you can get a pretty good picture. And one of our best local photographers who shares a lot of his stuff with us is Dan Owens. And thanks to Dan for sharing this picture of the partial lunar eclipse this morning with the left-hand side of the moon partially in shadow as the Earth moves between the moon and the sun. And while this was a total eclipse in the western U.S., this was the peak eclipse for us. Not a huge eclipse, and certainly a more interesting one is coming up next month. That'll be a solar eclipse, a partial solar eclipse, but one that I think will be more of an event for our region than this morning's. But again, if you got really nice stuff, you could have gotten a nice picture like Dan did. First thing this morning. A couple of old pictures. We'll skip past those. The rainfall today, variable. We did okay in southern Columbiana County for a while, 0.3 in Calcutta, East Liverpool. But downtown Youngstown, a couple of hundredths. Canfield, a couple of tenths. And then did a little bit better near and north of I-80 from Kent to Newton Falls over towards the airport, about a quarter of an inch officially at the airport. And then a half an inch in some parts of central Mercer County where a pretty hefty storm moved through. A little bit of rain for some. Some had enough rain to wash off our cars. The yellow tint on all of our cars has definitely been noticeable with the tree pollen in the last couple of weeks. No big surprise. That happens every year at this time. All right, this is a radar loop over the last 6 hours. We did have a severe thunderstorm warning early this afternoon out in Portage County. Then that storm weakened heading into Trumbull, and then it perked up again heading into Mercer. Mercer was under a severe thunderstorm warning for a time. The rest of us, no warnings, and the severe thunderstorm watch was discontinued way, way early. Now, a couple of reports of wind damage today. Most of this was over towards Akron, Brimfield, Kent, Ravenna area. Again, the storm weakened heading into Trumbull, but then it perked back up again towards the state line, and we did have a report of some tree and wires down at about 2:35, 2:36 this afternoon in the Farrell area. The storm, I think, weakened quite a bit once again as it got into central and eastern Mercer County. That thing kind of pulsed up and down as it made the trip east across the region. All right, our actual cold front is still off to the north and the west. The front has not technically moved through yet, even though it feels quite a bit cooler outside. I just stepped outside a few minutes ago, and it feels different than it did earlier today. But the actual front still entering northwest Ohio. There's a skinny band of showers as of 7:15 with that front, and we might get grazed by that by mid-evening. We're hanging on to the somewhat humid air here locally, dew point of 63 in the 7 o'clock hour, but look at Detroit, look at Lansing, look at Chicago. The air's a lot drier. That's what's coming our way by tomorrow morning. All right, pretty eventful May 26th over the last handful of years, including last year on May 26th, we had a record high of 90 degrees. I believe that bested the May 26th record by 3 degrees. I think the previous record for today's date was 87. So it's hot on this date last year. We have not hit 90 officially at the airport yet this season. 88 has been the high water mark. We achieved that yesterday and previously last Friday. So again, with our front mid-evening, we might get grazed by a skinny band of showers 9, 10 o'clock. And then we're in the clear, and the sky will clear, and that will allow temperatures to drop all the way down into the lower 50s. Again, it's going to feel a lot different as we head off to work and school Thursday morning. Overall, Thursday's a nice day. Northerly flow, a little bit on the cool side, actually. Struggling to get above 70 tomorrow afternoon. We'll have some cirrus clouds filtering in the afternoon. Those clouds will then thicken, and as expected, a rainy Friday is on the way. Most of this is going to be pretty light, but it's going to be pretty consistent or persistent throughout the day. This is actually just what the doctor ordered, really, an all-day light rain event. Flooding's not a concern. It'd be nice if this happened maybe for a lot of us, maybe in the middle of the week instead of Friday. And unfortunately, the first part of the holiday weekend has been trending down significantly since last evening. When I worked last evening, looked like there might be a little drizzle to start Saturday, but then from north to south, the sun would come out. Now it looks like this residual kind of trough of low pressure will keep the clouds around for much of Saturday, and the light rain and drizzle and cool temperatures likely to hang around for a good chunk of the day. Not great news because, Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, there's a lot of stuff going on. Graduation ceremonies, graduation parties, weddings, and you name it. A lot of people have outdoor plans, and unfortunately Saturday has trended downhill. The rest of the weekend will be better. On top of what we had today, how much rain can we expect Friday into Friday night and into Saturday? Here's a look at our model spread. Some of the lower or less wet models, GFS included, 0.75. Then you get up to about an inch on the NAM and closer to 1.5 inches on the European model. So this will be a healthy drink of water. It's what we need. We are in a rainfall deficit, and that's going to be pretty nice. Unfortunately, the first part of the weekend's not looking so good, with a high only in the upper 50s on Saturday. But then Sunday, featuring a mix of sun and clouds. We're still 8 degrees below average on Sunday, but hey, this is still a pretty decent day, 67. But the best part of the whole holiday weekend will be the holiday itself. On the final day of May, 73 degrees for Memorial Day. Once the warmth kicks back in early next week, it has some staying power. I think the first half of June is likely to be warmer than average, especially the first week of June. Beyond that, it gets a little fuzzier, but the first week of June does look pretty toasty compared to the average. I think we'll see a lot of upper 70s and lower 80s for daytime highs as we flip the calendar over into the 6th month of the year and meteorological summer. We'll talk more about the longer range in future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. In the meantime, thanks for watching tonight's version, and I will see you back here on Thursday.